Back with Alden Chodash of AldenBoxing.com. Saturday night, Alden, what'd you think of Manny Pacquiao's performance?
Flawless, really. It was shocking. Going into the fight, I was starting to second guess my earlier prediction a couple weeks ago that De La Hoya was going to knock him out early based on the motivation I saw from Pacquiao's whole camp and the confidence of Freddie Roach, who worked with Oscar De La Hoya in the past. But the last thing I would have expected for him to do it in this lopsided manner in which De La Hoya barely landed a punch on Pacquiao, and Pacquiao landed basically whenever he chose to, and also started to hurt De La Hoya down the stretch. He fought an intelligent fight. He was patient when he controlled De La Hoya. He wasn't rushing his attack, and inevitably he would have scored a knockout if the fight were to continue.
I know it's tough to hit a man when he's down, but so to speak. But would Oscar have ever beaten Manny Pacquiao?
I don't think so. Not the way he looked tonight. But one thing I gotta say about Oscar, he looked stiffer than usual. He was not relaxed at all in there. He wasn't fluid in there. He just stood like a statue and basically acted as a punching bag the whole time. But maybe the style of Pacquiao just frustrates him, like Shane Mosley's speed did 8 years ago, in which a smaller, quicker man was able to get the better of the exchanges. I would assume it would be more competitive if it was fought a while ago, but maybe Pacquiao's style and his speed just give De La Hoya problems.
Some people are going to say that De La Hoya just wasn't the same fighter as he was in his recent fights, but I would disagree, and I want to hear your opinion. I mean, Floyd Mayweather was laying on the ropes, and Oscar had clean shots at him. Steve Forbes didn't do much movement, and Ricardo Mayorga is just a B-class fighter. Was De La Hoya any worse than he was in those last 3 fights yesterday?
He looked similar. His stance in the fight was similar to his stance against Mayweather, in which he stood in there pretty stiff, except Mayweather gave him opportunities to punch away at his arms in many instances of that fight. Pacquiao pushed the fight and also gave De La Hoya angles that made it impossible to really get off. So, no, he wasn't really any worse. It was just Pacquiao's a different opponent.
Are we seeing a living legend in Pacquiao?
It appears so, really. He can do anything. There's nothing, at least right now, you can't say there's anything Pacquiao can't do unless you're talking about Pacquiao moving up another 25 pounds. Maybe you're going to have to second guess him a little bit more. But maybe I'd have to say from 147 and down, Pacquiao could easily be the champion of any division.
Okay, Floyd Mayweather Jr. You think this is enough to coax him out of retirement?
When you're talking about Floyd Mayweather Jr., maybe Pacquiao's met his match. Maybe that's where the line gets drawn. But for the most part, there hasn't been really any talk on Mayweather's part of him coming out of retirement to fight Pacquiao, but it would be a great fight. It would be actually a good fight for both fighters, and it would make a ton of money.
How do you envision that fight if it ever would happen?
It probably would look like Mayweather maybe losing a couple of the early rounds, but figuring Pacquiao out and landing the cleaner punches. But it would still be a very close and competitive fight.
Don't you think Mayweather would have to work harder than he's ever worked by far?
Yeah, but Mayweather's in good shape. You definitely get the best out of Mayweather, which would be interesting. I'm not sure if Mayweather would come out of retirement for that fight. I think he thinks he's accomplished everything, but after this dominant performance of Oscar De La Hoya, maybe this could be an exception.
Okay. Ricky Hatton is most likely on the menu for Manny Pacquiao. How do you see that fight going?
That's a really good fight. It'd be exciting. You'd have a wide open target in Ricky Hatton. He would come right at Pacquiao, and Pacquiao probably would counterpunch him to death, similar to the way he did to David Diaz. And it'd bring the best out of Manny Pacquiao, and it'd probably be a good fight. Okay,
but you expect Manny to win that fight, though?
Yeah, he doesn't. I don't think there's any concern with Ricky Hatton in terms of his style.
Okay. Okay, undercard action from Saturday in Las Vegas. First off, Danny Jacobs, anything to say about his performance?
Well, there's really nothing to say because he was fighting nobody. There's obvious talent in Danny Jacobs. He's fought better opponents In the amateurs, he has skill, but I'd like to see him matched up better in the following year based on the fact that he's already had 12 fights in his first year. I think he should continue an active streak of bouts, but against generally better opposition.
Okay. Juan Manuel Marquez versus a fella that just didn't show up. Juan Manuel Lopez, sorry. Lopez did what he had to do, huh?
Yeah, really not much of an opponent. Probably an opponent that was willing to lay down under anything. Juan Manuel Lopez is a good puncher, but I don't really think he landed the clean punches in order to drop a fellow like Sergio Martinez, I believe it was, 3 times within probably 1/2 of the round.
I mean Medina.
Yeah, Medina, excuse me.
But you're still not sold on Juan Lopez. I brought up Celestino Caballero and Rafael Marquez, and you're saying not yet?
Oh, maybe. Celestino Caballero, I think Juan Manuel Lopez. I haven't really seen him get tested against a good puncher, but most likely he could survive a good puncher like Caballero. But other than that, there's really not much to be concerned of. He's so much better than Caballero in terms of skill that it's really amazing, and he should be able to destroy Caballero with his better boxing skills. Israel Vasquez, he may not be coming back. Rafael Marquez would be a good fight for him, and a fight that he'd have a very good chance of winning.
Okay, and finally on the show, Victor Ortiz. What do you think of his performance?
He's generally improving every time out, and against generally better opposition, he's very technically sound. He's a good puncher also.
Okay. And now we look forward to this coming week's action, a fight that surprisingly you're not crazy about, but just seems like it's a natural. Kendall Holt, Ricardo Torres 3. Why aren't you crazy about this fight?
Because I think in the first 2 fights it's evident that Holt. Well, I already knew Holt has a suspect chin, but I mean Torres is a good puncher, and it's obvious that Holt can't take those punches. So if barring any controversy, it should be a knockout for Ricardo Torres. That makes the most sense. That probably should have happened in the first time, barring that accidental headbutt.
That's the second time.
The second time, excuse me, which flaunted a chance of Torres knocking Holt out in the first round, which appeared to be going that way. But if all controversy doesn't play a role in the fight, it should end up as a knockout for Ricardo Torres.
Okay, and a couple more fights on the horizon. What do you think? Luis Collazo has a shot against Andre Berto?
No, he doesn't. Andre Berto's young, and he throws a lot of punches. He's strong. Luis Collazo is kind of a lazy fighter. He's an older fighter, and he's not very focused. We'll see if he's motivated and determined to get any work done against Andre Berto, but for the most part, Andre Berto should outwork him. And maybe it'll take him a little while to knock him out based on the fact that Luis Collazo is a veteran with a good defense, and it may take Berto a little while to start connecting, but for the most part, he should win the fight.
Yeah, so you think it's a good a learning experience, a crafty veteran lefty against Andre Berto?
Yeah, Berto is getting matched up with good experienced fighters like Steve Forbes and now Luis Collazo. After this, I think he should start fighting guys that are more charismatic and go in there with more of a will to win, probably. Okay,
and finally, can Shane Mosley become the repeat welterweight champion of the world if he beats Antonio Margarito?
I don't think he's going to beat Margarito for the most part. Margarito's too young, and he probably throws too much punches. I really don't think his power is going to be too much of a factor in the fight, because Mosley has shown he can take a hell of a punch, but Margarito just throws too much punches. I think he'll outwork him.
Okay. Thanks, Alden, for talking to us. Remember to check out aldenboxing.com and fightfan.com for more information. Bye-bye.